Hey guys, sorry I'm late. I'm having some technical difficulties this morning, but I am here and I just want to thank you guys for joining me. My name is Tiffany Brown and I want to thank you guys for joining my very first Facebook Live. I am the CEO and founder of Legalize My Hustle, which is a consulting firm for the non-traditional entrepreneur. I'm also a business attorney. I'm licensed in 6 jurisdictions, including the state of Florida and the District of Columbia. I am the founder and CEO of the law offices of Tiffany J. Brown, PA, and I also own a nonprofit, Sarai to Sarah, which is an entrepreneurship development program for girls. Let me add few things as I wait for individuals to join me. I'm going to add that at the top. Okay. I don't have it in the comments, or as the title, but if you look in the comments, I have a link. If you would please join my mailing list. And then also if you would please like the page, Legalize My Hustle. It is facebook.com/Legalize My Hustle. I'm in the process of getting the website fully functional, but the website is up. So feel free to check out legalizemyhustle.com as well. I would just like to thank you guys for joining me, and I ask that you please like and share. There'll be an opportunity at the end for you to ask any questions that you may have. Okay, so before I get started, I need to put out the disclaimer. Although I am an attorney, I will not be giving out any legal advice today. I won't be giving out any specific legal advice. The information that I share will be strictly for educational purposes. Hi, Marquisia. Hi, Natasha. Hi, Jasmine. Thank you guys for joining me this morning at 11 o'clock on a Saturday. I greatly appreciate you guys for being here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started in the class. I do have my notes up, so if it looks like I'm going back and forth, it's because I am looking at my notes just to make sure that I cover everything that I have set out for today to cover. Okay, so today's class is called Stop Hustling Backwards. And with Stop Hustling Backwards, we're going to get into really the nitty-gritty of business ownership and the importance of legalizing our businesses, legalizing our hustles. I'm going to touch on the importance of business registration. I'm going to talk about the different types of business structures, and I am going to touch on licensing, marketing, and then at the end, I'll answer some questions. So as I said earlier, this is my first live anything, so please be patient with me. I speak in court, I speak in groups, but it's something a little weird about sort of speaking to myself in front of my computer to myself. So please just be patient with me on this first live. I ask once again that you share the video with your followers or with any groups that you're in, and also that you click on the links, it should be at the top in the comments, which will link you to joining my newsletter and also liking the page Legalize My Hustle. Okay, so let me get started. Statistics say that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. I want you to trust me when I say that there is nobody out here working 7 full-time jobs to do that. 7 full-time jobs as an employee to do that. So owning a business is the quickest way to securing true financial wealth. And when I say true financial wealth, I mean wealth that amasses, wealth that creates generational wealth. And that is the wealth that you can pass to your children, that they can pass to their kids. And it just keeps going. And they can say, oh, my great grandfather or my great grandmother started this company that made us millions. They, handled it the right way. And now our job is to work and make sure that company continues. So generational wealth, the key is entrepreneurship. So it's why entertainers, you don't really see an entertainer only performing music or only acting. They usually have other businesses that they do. They usually have other things that they start so that they can continue generating monies. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the different steps of business ownership. The first step and the most important step is registering your business with the state. Okay, that's the most important step, and it's the step that most people skip. It's the step that most people decide that they, for whatever reason, don't want to do. But registering your business with the state is important because that is what gives you your protection. It is what shields you from lawsuits. It's what shields you personally from the IRS. It shields you from liabilities that if people try to come against your business. Having that registration is the wall that keeps you as an individual safe and secure. Legalize My Hustle does offer registration. We help you register your company with the state that you're in. And we also serve as a registered agent. So if you need a registered agent for your business, Legalize My Hustle is able to assist with that. So in Florida has one of the easiest systems for registering as a business owner. You literally go to sunbiz.org. You go to register a new business. You fill out the form, you pay a fee, and that's it. Congrats, you're a business owner. Florida makes it very easy to set up a business, where some states it's a little more technical. Some states, they may want you to file something with the court. Some states, you have to put something in the newspaper. Some states, you actually have to go to a physical office. But Florida makes it very easy. You can register a business on your phone. Like, it very simple process here in Florida. But regardless of the state you live in, any state you go to, business registration is vital. Okay. One of the biggest questions that I get asked is, okay, I know I need to register my business, but what kind of business? There's so many different types to choose from. So I am going to talk about the three most popular business types, which is the LLC, sole proprietorship, and the corporation. The type of business structure you choose, it really just depends on you. It depends on what your industry is. It depends on what type of liability you're willing to take on. It depends on what your tax situation is like. I don't have any information. I have no knowledge about taxes. So that's something that you definitely will have to speak to an accountant about. But I can talk to you about the business structures. So sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is you. That is the most basic way I can describe what a sole proprietorship is. It offers you no protection at all. There is no, if someone tries to sue your company, they're basically suing you. I have clients that come and they have what you call a DBA, which is where they register a business name, but they don't register a business. It's not a business. It's just you saying that I am doing business as Tips R Us, but there's no protection. When they come and they say, hey, I need an EIN for my sole proprietorship, there is no EIN. The EIN is your social security number, because there is absolutely no protection. There's no shield from liability as a sole proprietor. That is a business structure that I absolutely do not recommend, for the simple fact that it doesn't provide you with any protection. The next corporation type is the corporation. The corporation is seen as totally separate from its owner. One of the benefits is that the company pays its own taxes, and then the owners pay their own taxes on their income. Smaller business owners really shy away from corporations, and that is the primary reason why, because they are being taxed double. They're being taxed on the income that the company makes, and then they're being taxed on the income that they bring in as an officer of the company. And that is a term that you may have heard called double taxation. Hey, Paula. The other thing about corporations is that there is no personal liability for the owner. So if your corporation is sued, it has no effect on you individually as an owner or officer of a company. A corporation does require registration with the state, and it does require an EIN. The last type that's the most popular is the LLC. Now, the LLC is very similar to a corporation, but the difference is that the LLC pays taxes through the owner. So although it's a totally separate entity, the owner of that company is only taxed once on the income is only taxed one on the income that the company makes. So instead of paying taxes twice, you're only paying taxes once. It also requires registration with the state, and it also requires an EIN to be filed with the IRS. Now, you hear me talking about an EIN. An EIN is an employee identification number. I like to describe it as a social security number for your business. In order to open a bank account, you need an EIN. If you're trying to apply for any type of funding, federal funding, grants, they're going to want to know your EIN. So the EIN is free to obtain, irs.gov/EIN. It's something that I recommend that you speak to an accountant about, because when you go into the application, it asks some questions that if you're not sure of, you can create a pretty sticky situation for yourself. So, but it's definitely something you need. So check out irs.gov/EIN. Okay, so the second step in a business, of creating a business, is having a product and a service, but that's having one that's properly licensed. Okay, so 95% of the time, by the time a business owner comes to me, they already know the product and the service that they want. That's typically the first thing that a person comes up with. They come up with the product and service, and then they sort of work from there. But the step that people kind of don't really flesh out is whether or not that industry is one that requires licensing by the government. Some licensing is regulated by the state, some is regulated by the county, some is regulated by the city, some are regulated by all three. But it's very important that you have your license, because if you're not properly licensed, the consequences can be pretty severe. The most common that come to me, that industries that require licenses that people don't know, anything that deals with hair or beauty. So barbers need a license. If you are doing anything with a person's hair, you need a license. Even if you're just putting braids in, you need a license for that. Contractors need a license. If you're hiring a minor, there's a license in the state of Florida for that. If you prepare food, now food is a sticky situation, because you have some people you have quite a few that prepare food out of their homes, and they, advertise and market it on Facebook, which could be fine depending on what type of food you are selling. If you are selling any meat products, whether it's cooked, fried, grilled, steamed, whatever, if it's a meat product, you're not permitted to sell that out of your home. If you're selling a product that can bear illness, you cannot sell that from your home. In Florida, cakes are okay, pies, jams and jellies and things of that nature are okay to sell from your home, but most other food products are not. And sometimes that comes with serious consequences, to the point that some individuals have had their homestead status put into challenge because the home was being essentially used as a business and used to operate illegally. So you definitely want to make sure that whatever industry you're in, that you're in full compliance with whatever licensing is required. Legalize My Hustle, we are able to offer that service to you. If you know that you need a license, but you're not quite sure how to go about it, we can assist. LegalizeMyHustle.com. There's the first comment is a link to our newsletter to sort of stay in contact with us. And also, if you're just not sure, you may be hearing me and say, wait a minute, I braid hair all the time. I didn't know I needed a license for that. We can help you secure that license. We can help you get that paperwork in place so that your hustle is legal, so that you're operating a business that is fully functional and fully legal. Licensing is very important, and sometimes the process is very simple. Sometimes it's just completing an application and sending it in. Sometimes it has a fee, and then there's some licenses that require a little bit more, that may require a certain number of hours of schooling completed. Some, like me, who's an attorney, I had to do 3 years of law school. And I had to take a bar and become registered with the state. So it really just depends on what industry you're in. It depends on what it is that you're doing. Let Legalize My help you assist you in finding out what, if any, your industry may not need anything. And then that's perfect, because then you can just register and get started in your business. But contact us if you need assistance in figuring out what, if anything, you need to do to have your license be licensed properly. Okay, the next step is intellectual property. Intellectual property are your trademarks, it's your copyrights, and depending on what your product is, it can be your patents. This is very important because I encounter people who spend nice money to have a logo done. They put a lot of time and effort into, maybe drafting a script or coming up with a clothing line and design, or songs that they perform or that they write, and then they do nothing to protect it. Intellectual property is very important because it prevents someone from coming in and completely stealing your idea. It's pretty important. Trademark is very important because if you have a logo or if you have a slogan and you're in business and you're going worldwide with your company, and somebody does a quick search and says, wow, this company is known all over the country and they don't have one trademark to protect their name. Guess what? They can register your company name as a trademark and actually potentially challenge you and say, you can't use that name anymore. I trademarked it. It belongs to me. So you want to make sure that your intellectual property, that your registrations are in and that they are secured so that you can tell anybody who tries to infringe or come in and try to use whatever it is that you've created, that no, you can't use that. One of the questions that I get for copyright is something called a poor man's copyright, where somebody may have written a song or a book and they mail it to themselves and they say, well, as long as I don't open it, I'm protected. Well, your copyright is protected, but if somebody uses that song or that book or whatever is within that envelope, you cannot sue them and tell them, hey, this is copyrighted, you can't use it. Because the only way that you can sue someone for infringing on your copyright rights or sue someone for using something you created is by having a registration, having a copyright registration. So if you don't have it registered, it doesn't matter. You won't be able to stop them from using it. So registrations are very important. And it's something that Legalize My Hustle can assist you with. We're able to assist you with the trademark process as well as the copyright process. Now, the next step in business that I want to talk about is marketing. Marketing is sort of seen as the fun stuff. It is sort of the last thing that I recommend that business owners do, but usually it's the first thing that people do. People usually create the website, they create the Instagram and the Facebook and run with it before having anything registered, before they protect their, the company's name through either a copyright or a trademark. So it's really one of those things that I like to tell my clients that all these steps really should sort of be done in a quick succession because they all play a huge role in making the business successful. But marketing is something that really should come in towards the end after those more important steps are taken, because it's how you introduce your company to the public. A lot of my friends have known about Legalize My Hustle for a while, but I really didn't feel comfortable introducing it until I had my trademark done, because I knew that the name was catchy. I knew that what I had to offer was catchy. And I didn't want to put it out there and then be told by the trademark office that, oh, somebody already has that name. So you want to, make sure that your marketing it comes in a step that is after you've already put your protections in place. Marketing is how you introduce your company to the public, how you introduce your product to the public, and branding is what you want people to remember about your product or your company. You want to be able to do marketing to distinguish yourself from your competition. I guess this is sort of the last thing I want to talk. The last step are your business operations. Having your business operations in place. There's some things that can really, really help make sure that your business runs smoothly. And the first thing that I recommend is having an attorney or an accountant on hand. Yes, I am an attorney, but I am coming to you more so from a consulting role to tell you how important that is. Because if you enter into an agreement with someone and you don't understand what that agreement says, I've had clients who sort of turned over their whole entire companies because they signed a contract without reading it or without understanding it. So it's important that you have an attorney and you have an accountant on your team, or at least, if not on retainer, just someone that you can refer to, because you want to make sure that you do not get into signing things that you don't understand. And then for an accountant, when you have a business, you have to make sure that your taxes are done properly. You have to make sure that they're done timely. And it's just, the IRS is just not a problem that you want to have. The next thing that I recommend as far as business operations go is having a business plan. A few years ago, business plan was like step one. Everybody was saying you need to have a business plan. It's not a document that's as required now, but it is something that if you ever look for funding, whether it be through the bank, through investors, through a grant, they are going to ask for your business plan, because they want to see what your product is. They want to see what your goals are, the goals you have set for your company. They want to see financially what your company is doing now, what you projected to do in the future. They want to know about your industry. So business plans is something that is important. It's just not something that people really think they need, because it's so, it's pretty easy nowadays to, create and start your business. If you need a business plan, Legalize My Hustle, that is a product that we offer. We do create business plans. We create the models. We do research on the industry. So, once again, feel free to email info@legalizemyhustle.com, or even go to the website and go to contact us if you need business plan assistance. The next thing that I think is very vital for a business that is functioning and operational is to have an operating agreement, especially if the business has more than one owner, or if the business has officers within it, because the operating agreement is sort of the holy grail for your company. It's going to tell you what each person does. It's going to tell you what percentage of the company that each person has. It's going to say who can do what and how. It's going to say how do you get rid of an officer. It's going to provide information about if someone gets sick and is not able to perform their duties. It's going to talk about what happens when it's time to wind the company down. Having that document it creates just a great peace of mind for all of the business owners, because you already have sat down, you've agreed to the terms, so what happens if you want to leave. How much of what percentage of this company your officers have. It really is a lifesaver if God forbid, things proceed to court and there is a conflict between the officers of a company, because the first question anybody is going to ask is, well, what's the operating agreement for the company? And if you don't have if there's no operating agreement, it gets very, very, interesting and very difficult after that point. So operating agreement is very important. Insurance, important. It's some industries require it. Some industries require that you have a bond. I recommend that regardless of what industry you have, that you have some type of liability insurance, because it just provides you with a level of protection, an additional level of protection. It really helps you sleep better after a long day of work, knowing that if anything goes wrong, you have insurance in place, so that you have someone that will be able to defend you in that regard. And then the last thing I want to talk about is this is just a general business tip. One of the things that I offer all of my clients, and that is just the advice that there's nothing wrong with starting small. When you create a business, it's like creating a baby. Like, it creates the same feelings of excitement and hope, and you're just like, I want to do this and we're going to do that. And that's fine. But it's nothing wrong with starting small. It's nothing wrong with creating your business using these steps, putting the money in at the beginning to make sure that your business is on a level and solid foundation, and then going from there. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on your first logo. You may find someone who can do it for $30 on Fiverr, or you don't have to buy 200 t-shirts, because everybody's going to love your business and they're going to want to wear one of your t-shirts. It may be buying 3 from Vistaprint that you wear, and that's very affordable, very good quality, and that doesn't put you in the red. You working from home, as long as you're not cooking certain foods, or going and having a virtual office, so that your business is you're providing your business with the opportunity to generate revenue, generate that income for you, so that you don't end the first year totally in the red and legally obligated, because you have, a lease, you have, bills that you owe, you have all this credit card debt that you've gotten yourself in because you wanted to start your business, start on a grand scale. So that's just some advice that I give to my clients. I want to thank you guys for joining me this morning for my Legalize My Hustle, Stop Hustling Backwards Masterclass. I'm going to open the floor for questions, but before I do, I just want to ask you guys one more time if you could please, share this video, if you can sign up for our newsletter, and if you can make sure that you like the page. Okay, so thank you guys for joining me. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? It can be a business-related question. It can be a question about Legalize My Hustle and what we do. So I'm open for questions. Thank you, Marquisia. Thank you, Bria. Thank you, Jasmine. I really appreciate your comments and for you guys joining me on this Saturday morning. If you have questions, feel free to send an email to info@legalizemyhustle.com. And once again, please make sure that you sign up for the newsletter. It's the first comment in this little thread. So I'm going to give it one more minute and then I'm going to log off. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Actually, you know what? I can put it here. I'm going to put the link here for anyone who is interested in signing up for the mailing list. The link is there. And then also a link to the page is there as well. Okay, India asked, what about nonprofit? Okay, so for a nonprofit really should follow the same steps as a for-profit. The difference between a for-profit and a nonprofit is that a nonprofit has to follow all these steps, plus an additional step of also registering with, or not registering, you have to apply for your 501c3 tax exempt status with the IRS. So you still have to register with your state. You still have to make sure that if your industry requires a license or any type of regulation, that is done. And then you have to file the Form 1023 with the IRS. And then they have their own process, their own set of rules that they follow to figure out whether or not they're going to grant your business that status. That's something that we, do provide assistance with. So feel free to send an email at info@legalizemyhustle.com, and I'll write that here. Okay, so I don't see any more questions. Thank you guys for joining me. I plan to do, a question from Bria. I'm writing a book and doing it via a well-known website which offers a copyright option. Is it legit without doing any real paperwork? I would definitely do my own copyright. Copyright registration is fairly inexpensive. When you upload your book to this site, make sure that you read through what they call the terms of service, because you want to make sure that you're not totally giving them your book. It's your literary work, so there's an automatic copyright protection, but without the registration that you hold individually, you will not be able to stop anyone else from using. If they take your book and slap a different title and a different cover on it, unless you have your copyright registered, you won't be able to go after them for using that. So I would definitely recommend getting your own copyright in addition to whatever protection that they're saying that they will provide to you. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I'm going to. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, well, thank you guys very much. Make sure that you click on the link and sign up for the newsletter, and that you also like Legalize My Hustle on Facebook. It's facebook.com/legalize my hustle. Thank you. Did I end it?